CNY homepage and WUTR present the 19th annual Oneida County History Center Telethon, brought to you by the Bank of Utica.
1608 Genesee Street, that's where we are.
Utica, New York. This is the site of this year's 19th annual, hard to believe, isn't it, Rebecca?
I know, flies by.
19th annual telethon. And we're going to be with you from now until 5 o'clock. We've got a whole bunch of guests.
8 o'clock, Joe. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Right? We don't want to do any more than we have to. A lot of guests coming in tonight. Sheriff Mayfield, County Executive Vicente, all kinds of Frank Tomeno. We're going to be talking with Frank tonight.
A few times.
Yeah. And the whole deal is twofold, I think. One, raise awareness.
Absolutely.
And we're going to do that through exhibits, through talking to people, and two, to raise some money.
Absolutely. So we're looking to raise $45,000 tonight to support us, the History Center, and everything we do here, like Joe said, from our exhibits to our weekly public programs to preserving our artifacts and paper documents in our archives.
Yeah,
I think people would be surprised if they get downstairs and look into these archives.
Just to see how
Absolutely.
much is down
I
there.
always use an iceberg analogy for up here. If you pop in, you see our exhibits, just remember we have probably 10 times more downstairs waiting to be seen.
And for those who have supported us in the past 18 years, we hope they'll do it again tonight.
Absolutely. So that's what I would like to mention. We already have more than 500 members, so we are looking not only for donations tonight, but looking for people to renew their membership, maybe gift a membership to a friend, or join tonight.
Yeah. And for those who have never been in the building, for those who aren't aware of the United County History Center, boy, tonight's an opportunity to get involved.
Yes, you're going to learn a lot. We shouldn't forget we have a special incentive for our callers tonight. Anyone who pledges $50 or more, so that can be just a donation, it can be an individual membership and a $10 donation, you're going to get a limited edition canvas tote bag, really nice and solid, sponsored by Oneida County Tourism. We have a couple hanging up by the phone bank and around in the background, and maybe we'll, oh good, perfect, they're showing you a graphic.
Yeah. The tote bag incentive is a nice incentive. I've looked at one of those tote bags, and I'm going to be kicking in something to get one of those.
Well, wonderful.
Tote bags. The other thing that we want to remind people of tonight is this: 735-3642.
Absolutely. Our phone number is 315-735-3642. So please call in. Any amount helps us. Any amount is greatly appreciated.
And it only takes us. And it only takes a second to do that. They'll get you in and out of those phones in just a second.
And that's Morgan Melnicki, and she's from the Daily Sentinel. The Daily Sentinel's played a big part in this year's telethon, and Morgan's going to be at the Starboard this year.
Morgan, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Melnicki, and as they mentioned, I am from the Daily Sentinel. We are proud to be a sponsor of the Oneida County History Center's 19th annual telethon happening tonight. Tonight, I am honored to be the Starboard host for the evening, where we will recognize donors and major sponsors of the Oneida County History Center telethon. Starting off, we have our platinum sponsors, which will be recognized by a blue star, which are donations up above $2,000. Following that, we have our gold star sponsors, recognized by a gold star, donations $1,000 to $1,999. And then our silver sponsors, which are donations between $500 and $999. And then, of course, our bronze sponsors, certainly not least, they will be recognized by an orange star, and they are from $200, $250 to $500. Please call in to make a donation. As they mentioned, our goal tonight is $45,000, and as a nonprofit organization, obviously they are not getting government funding, so our Oneida County History Center is supported and runs because of your donations. I think I'm tossing it back over to you guys for a check presentation.
Cool. Hello, we are here with Leon DeBernardis from Bank of Utica. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Leon.
My pleasure, Rebecca.
This is the 4th year in a row that Bank of Utica has been our naming sponsor. So generous, kicking us off with $5,000. Yep. Amazing, a really great start to our telethon. So again, thank you.
We're very proud to be able to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, what's going on at the bank?
What's going on at the bank? Well, I'm happy to say that we are still going to be doing our annual New Year's Eve party this year in conjunction with the Utica Fire Department and the UPD. What's also new is we did just about 30 days ago, we launched our Facebook for the Bank of Utica.
Awesome. And how can people follow you?
They can follow us on, well, you go to the site, because I'm not that savvy as far as Facebook is concerned. I don't have one myself. But if you go to the site, it'll explain everything. We also have what's called Zelle now. Zelle is where you can deposit and receive money from someone's account at another bank, provided they have the same Zelle setup. So those are like two things that are new.
And awesome. And so we bank with Bank of Utica. We have our checking and savings with them.
Yes, you do.
And one thing we like about your organization, or your business rather, is that you're so invested in the community. And so I know you don't just support us, but you're really invested in the community.
Well,
can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, first of all, Rebecca, Bank of Utica is proud to support the Oneida County History Center. And also, we also support over 100 not-for-profit local organizations as well, and we're just as proud to do that. So.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Leon. Thank you for this amazing donation to the Sinnott family, everybody down at Bank of Utica. Fantastic to work with. And yeah.
Well, thank you for
thanks
having
again.
me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I guess over to you, Joe.
You know, another thing that the Bank of Utica has done, they've changed the skyline of downtown Utica. And boy, what a nice addition that building is to downtown Utica. Yes, County Executive?
No question. It really lights up the sky.
Yeah. We're going to talk about a bit of news that happened today in just a second. But first, Tony, if you would, you appreciate history. You know the importance of history, and you know the importance of this event tonight.
It is. I mean, look, I love Oneida County, as everyone knows, and I love the history of this county. And this History Center is what keeps it in everybody's minds and really keeps the community, but beyond the community, it keeps the entire state. This is becoming a leader in county history centers across the state and across the country, and we want to keep it that way, so we need your help tonight.
And the number to call is 735-3642, and you can do that while the county executive and I are talking. You can do it any time tonight. Not until 9 o'clock, though. It's only until 8 o'clock tonight. A bit of news today, Senator Schumer announced that Griffith is going to get an extension on its testing. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another part of the history of this great county. I mean, obviously we have a history in Griffith Air Force Base, a history at Griffith now International Airport, and we're continuing that with the UAS test site, which was designated some 11 years ago and now got extended again for another 5 years. Only one of only 7 test sites
throughout the country.
Yeah. And the only one at a general municipal airport like Oneida County. So that's history in itself as well. And really, it continues our development and research and overall piece of the unmanned or uncrewed aircraft systems, as we call them today.
You know, you think back, I'm old enough to remember when Griffith was in its heyday. And you had the bomb wing up, I think it was the 416th Bomb Wing. You had the 49th Fighter Interceptor Squadron. The air was filled with airplanes around here, and now it's making a turn.
Well, we still have airplanes coming in and out of Griffith all the time, and the military still does test runs there and maneuvers, and general aviation is at its peak. But now the skies are filled with some drones and UAS, and we want to keep it that way. And we want to be a leader, as we have been in so many different things.
I had a guy on my show, Jim Colthart, and that show will air this Sunday. And he's very knowledgeable about Mohawk Airlines. He's very knowledgeable about Empire Airlines. And he was talking about what's going on up at Syracuse. I referred to the fighter squadron up there as the boys from Syracuse.
The boys from Syracuse.
He said, no, it's not the boys from Syracuse anymore. It's the drones from Syracuse.
It is, but the drones started here.
Yeah.
And the test site begins here, and that corridor between here and Syracuse is something that's being promoted nationally. Sky Dome, which is the largest indoor test site for UAS is here in Oneida County. So when you look at history in this wonderful building and everything that's done here at the center, we're just going to keep adding to it.
Yeah, and the number to call for those, and they put it up there for me, Tony, not for.
But I'll say it: 315-735-3642. Please call. I'm going to give my donation before I leave, and I'll encourage my fellow electeds to join me.
Well, thank you. I was going to ask you to do that, but you
Absolutely,
beat me to the
absolutely.
punch. And when Sheriff Maciel comes on, I know every year he does the same thing. He asks the law enforcement people to kick in a little something.
Right. Well, this is an important piece of this community. It's important to continue to tell the story of Oneida County that is growing every day, but the history of this county, when you talk to people, is just so immense. And it really, if you've never been here, for those who are watching, please come and take a look around, and really the exhibits are second to none.
I never got an invitation from a county executive to come into this building, but you've just issued a blanket wide, so I hope people will take up. Tony, always good to see you.
Great to
Thanks for coming in. Hopefully you'll come do my show one of these Sundays.
Love
yes?
to.
Good.
Love to.
Good. See you soon.
Great. Thank
And
you.
we're going to toss it over to Morgan. Morgan.
Thank you, Joe. Let's recognize some of these generous donors, starting off with the Bank of Utica, our presenting sponsor tonight, at a $5,000 donation. Up next, we have a platinum sponsor, which is Chris and Virginia Kelly. Thank you so much for your donation of $2,500. Moving on to another platinum sponsor, Coleman Harding. Thank you for your sponsorship. And last for this group, we have Kathleen Sinnott at a gold sponsorship of $1,000. Tossing it back to you guys.
And I am here with our board president, Julie Gutierrez. Julie, thank you so much for being here with us tonight, and thank you for your support.
Absolutely. So I think I actually have the best job tonight. I'm here solely to thank everyone. So thank you to our volunteers, Rebecca and her team, our board, all of our members, everyone who's calling in. If you haven't had a chance, please call in. As you know, the History Center is a nonprofit, and we rely solely on the donations of others. And one thing that I love about the History Center, beyond our mission of preserving local history, is our beautiful building. Do you want to tell us a little bit about our building?
Yes. So our building here is a former Christian Science church built in 1913. Cornerstone was laid, and they were here through the late 1980s when we purchased the building and did some minimal renovations just to modernize a little bit, make it more accessible. But we're actually added to the National Register of Historic Places last year in 2023. So a fantastic historic building with beautiful stained glass windows made by Spence Bell and Chase Co. from Boston. I personally really like the lattice work behind us on the stage, and you look up, down, all around. Outside is fantastic as well.
It truly is a beautiful building. I personally love the balcony. That's my favorite spot, and also my son's favorite spot. He's 5 years old. He comes to programs here, and he loves the balcony.
Yes. So just, a reminder, everyone, the History Center really is for all ages. We have a cute little kids corner and something for everyone. So if you like what you see and you want to support us, again, that number is 315-735-3642. So, and thank you for everyone who's going to call in tonight, and I'm going to toss it to Joe.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Rob Maciel's our guest now. He's the Oneida County Sheriff, and he's in charge of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not a department. It's not part of what Anthony Picente runs. You're your own elected official, and if I remember my history correctly, the oldest elective position in Oneida County, yes?
Actually, the Office of Sheriff is the oldest elected position in our governmental structure in the whole country. So it's certainly the position of sheriff has a lot of history. Here in Oneida County, we've been around since 1798. Started out with one sheriff, one horse, and 2 jail cells. So we've certainly changed a lot.
Yeah. How many jail cells have you got now?
632 today.
Yeah.
And there's not, obviously there's still one sheriff, but there's 540 employees, 540 dedicated men and women. Perfect opportunity. We're in National Police Week right now, and we just finished up Corrections Officer Week the week before, so it's an opportunity for me to say thank you to the men and women, not only those serving today, but those that have served in the past.
And if I I'm going to trust my judgment here, but my guess is if I ask you who the first sheriff was of Oneida County, you'll know.
Yes, Sheriff Coldbrath, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He was the sheriff of both Herkimer and Oneida County in the beginning, so it's kind of interesting. They practiced consolidation 225 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Most people know where the correctional facility is today up on Judd Road, but
Yes.
it had a place before that.
In the city, city of Utica, that's where it originally was. Then obviously our headquarters eventually moved out to Oriskany, but we also have field offices now up north in Barneveld, down south in Waterville, and out west in Camden. So we serve 3 cities, 26 towns, and I believe 17 villages now. It's a large agency, and like I said, very busy. And we're here to do everything we can to serve and protect the people of our community.
And you know where you've made in fact, I was talking to one of the officers just the other day after church, where you're making a big impact now is with these deputies in the school districts.
Yes, we have about 120 retired peace or police officers. We've brought them back out of retirement, and they're the ones who keep our kids safe in the schools, along with several other municipal locations in the county. But a lot of history at the Sheriff's Office, and I'm honored to be here again, and certainly urge everyone listening to make a donation to the History Center. Just a lot of great stuff here.
You know, we ought to do someday. This is Rebecca's and the board's call, but you know, I'm just thinking while you were talking, you make a great little exhibit. Some of the stuff that you have, just that you used to have on your desk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like to collect things, and certainly you can tell by being in my office, along with my wife could vouch for that too.
Yeah.
I certainly like to collect things, but just a lot of history, and policing has changed so much in just a short time. The technology we have today is truly amazing. But like I said, it all began 225 years ago for the Oneida County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah. Why don't you can you read the phone number there?
Yes, 315-735-3642. 315-735-3642. Please make that call today, and I urge everyone, especially my colleagues in law enforcement, to make that call and to help the History Center here in Oneida County.
What do you think about putting a little exhibit on down here?
I'm all for it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Rebecca.
Absolutely.
She's got other things on her mind tonight, but when we're done with this, I'm going to make that suggestion that we do something. And the correctional facility, you still looking for people?
We are. We are recruiting every single day. And if anyone wants to join a great organization with some great benefits, it's a rewarding career. Being in law enforcement, it's one of those careers where you go to work each and every day knowing that you're going to make a positive difference in someone's life, and there's no other career like it.
Hey, well, I got you here. There was an accident up in Boonville the other day. A car hit a bear.
A large bear. Certainly caused damage to the vehicle.
Yeah.
The bear took off. Hopefully the bear is doing okay.
Yeah.
We don't know that, though.
Yeah.
But just want to make motorists aware. This time of year, obviously, there's a lot of animals moving around, and certainly a bear it's pretty big. So you want to be on guard when you're driving.
Yeah, and I know when you come on my show, you're nice enough to come on my show a lot. One of the things that you like to tell people is be careful about those wagons, those carriages that are out on the road.
We obviously our community has a lot of Amish people in and moving in. The numbers are rising each and every day. Plus, we're also into planting season for our farmers. Agriculture is our largest industry in this county. So there's a lot of slow-moving vehicles out there. Some are small, being pulled by horses. Some are very, very large, farm equipment. So again, share the road with always being observant as to what the surroundings are. So,
Sheriff, always good to see you.
Same here. Thank you. And please call 315-735-3642.
See, we've got you well trained.
That's right.
All right. And I'm going to toss it to who? Oh, yes, we've got the hidden history coming up. Take a look at this.
Robert Everett was a Congregational minister, printer, and noted abolitionist. He emigrated from Wales in 1823 and started his career in Utica, New York, at what is now the Cornerstone Plymouth Bethesda Church. He later relocated to the Remsen-Steuben area, settling at the Capel Uca. Everett preached against slavery long before his contemporaries, and his early years were not peaceful. Some felt the abolitionists' cause was too extreme, and he was often threatened, harassed, and even attacked. He remained resolute in his beliefs. He started a monthly newsletter which was distributed to Welsh American settlements across the United States, from 1840 to 1875. His goal was to persuade new immigrants to become citizens and voters. As many Welsh settlers retained their native language, Everett was uniquely able to reach them. He felt that a united Welsh community could influence and support the movement to abolish slavery. Everett was an active station master in the Underground Railroad and encouraged the Welsh to support the Civil War. His follower Erasmus Jones joined an African American regiment as a chaplain, and Everett promoted their activities worldwide. The Everett family also supported the abolition movement. His sons attended the integrated Oneida Institute at Whitesboro, and his eldest son joined John Brown in Kansas. After the war, Everett encouraged the Welsh to help educate those formerly enslaved. His daughter started schools in Norfolk, Virginia, and Charleston, South Carolina. Everett received permission from Frederick Douglass and Harriet Beecher Stowe to translate their works into Welsh and was referred to as Our Welsh Friend by Douglass. Everett was inducted into the National Abolition Hall of Fame in Peterborough, New York in 2022 in recognition of his lifelong leadership in the anti-slavery movement. He now joins the Oneida County Historical Hall of Fame.
Taking on the challenge of running a business isn't the result of a whim. It takes hours of dedication, researching, planning, saving. At Bank of Utica, we believe your vision deserves a bank that doesn't see you as a number. It's why we take the time to get to know you and the business you've worked so hard to bring to life. Your needs and goals are unique, and we will always be there to support you, our customer. Here to plan your future together. Bank with Utica.
The Sentinel Premium Golf Pass has arrived. At only $99, the Golf Pass grants you access to 16 of the best golf courses in the Mohawk Valley. Head over to premiumgolfpass.com for a full list of courses and grab yours today.
Hey, sorry I missed your game.
It's okay.
You see that? That's when I realized it's time to finally do the thing we've been talking about for years.
So we're making plans for right now.
Careful. You like it? Start your plan today with a Northwestern Mutual financial advisor and spend your life living.
The 19th annual Oneida County History Center Telethon continues, brought to you by the Bank of Utica.
And I should mention Monk Rowe, who is a living legend. But before we get into, at least in your own mind, right? But that hidden history and the rest of those hidden histories that you're going to be seeing tonight were done by Alex Stronach. His parents are on the board here, and Alex has done a wonderful job with those vignettes. How have you been? Good?
Very well, thanks.
You're
still digging and so forth.
Yeah. And you're still playing out after all these years?
I'm getting better at it every time.
In fact, you've got something coming up here, Monk.
Yes, my group, the Five Families Ensemble, played a marvelous night here in February, and we have a second concert September 14th. It's a Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and I hope everybody comes. We're going to be, it's called Composers, Titles, and Intent, and it's going to be great.
And Monk, this story always intrigues me, so I'm going to ask you again. Monk was your nickname, but tell the story about that. It's now your legal name.
Well, it is now.
Yeah.
When I was at Fredonia, SUNY Fredonia, they had pretty intense winters there, being near Lake Erie, and I got a coat that went down to my knees and had a hood on it. And it was dark blue. I'd walk around like this, and one of my classmates said, "You look like a monk in that thing." And it just stuck to me like glue, and it became my name.
But afterwards, you went and got it legally changed?
I did indeed.
Yeah.
And it took care of all that money I owed as my other person.
Monk, one of the things that you do in your life is you appreciate the history of music, jazz music in particular. And in fact, up at Hamilton College, you're in charge of
the Phileas Jazz Archive, named after Milt Phileas, Hamilton class of 1944. It's a jazz oral history project. We have a YouTube channel called Phileas Jazz, And there are 500 interviews with jazz musicians, both famous and not so famous, that you can watch on the Jazz YouTube
You did,
channel.
I'll tell you what, besides being a great musician, you're also a great interviewer. I saw you do an interview on that YouTube channel with Artie Zito from Utica, New York.
Yep.
Or Ronnie Zito.
Ronnie Zito.
I'm
Drummer.
sorry.
Yeah.
The drummer for Bobby Darin. What a great drummer. NBC Orchestra. You did a great interview with him.
It's easy when you're talking to musicians who have lived a life doing this incredible work, and it sort of just takes care of itself. You just have to listen.
Yeah, well, talking about listening, can we listen to you play something?
Yeah, you may recall last year I had penned a little tune called History is Hip. I said, well, I'd like to do something similar this time, but I just couldn't think of anything until I got here. And I got a bolt of inspiration, and I had a chance to write it down. So this will be the premiere performance of a tune entitled 735-3642.
All right.
Now, before I play, I'm going to sing it out, and everybody in the room and at home is going to sing it back to me. Are you ready? 735-3642.
735-3642.
Okay, we're going to rehearse tonight at 10 o'clock, all right? So here's the premiere performance of 735-3642.
Okay. Nicely done, nicely done. I hope you're going to include this from now on in your repertoire.
You got it. I'm going to write a whole symphonic arrangement of it, especially if those phones keep on ringing.
Well, we've got to get them ringing because I can look over there and I can see we've got a couple going, but we've got a couple more that aren't going. I see Dave Mathis is waiting to do some work. So 735-3642. That'll never sound the same to me, those phone numbers after this. Thanks for coming in, Monk. Thanks for arranging
to see
that.
you, Mr. Kelly, as always.
Okay, thanks. And we're going to go over to another person that's always a pleasure to see, and that's Morgan. Morgan?
Thanks, Joe. We are over here at the phone bank, and thank you so much to these volunteers. We have Sonia Martinez, David Mathis, Brianna Mahoney, and Greg Evans. We obviously cannot do this without our volunteers, so thank you guys so much. I'm coming over to Brianna, talking a little bit about why you think callers should call in to make a donation tonight.
Sure. Well, you know, I also am part of a nonprofit that supports history over at the Uptown, so I'm a big, passionate believer in supporting local history. That's what they're doing here. They have so many great artifacts and pieces you can check out. They have programming and educational resources, and they're a nonprofit, and being a nonprofit, you rely really on the support of your community, so I encourage everyone to call. The number is 735-3642. So call and just participate. Give what you can to keep this resource going.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Brianna. Every dollar counts here at the History Center Telethon, so be sure to call in. Remember, our goal tonight is $45,000. Tossing it over to Rebecca.
And helping us get closer to that goal, we have Bettina Kowalski from Caruso McLean coming in with a fantastic $1,000 donation. Thank you so much, Bettina, and all the partners over there at Caruso McLean. Yes. So, Bettina, thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. You supported us for
Many
countless years
yes.
before my time, which is fantastic. Do you want to talk a little bit about why you support?
Yes, at Caruso McLean, we believe in preserving the old stories of the area as well as the new stories to come because it gives us a greater understanding of the community as a whole. The History Center has played such a big role in preserving this history, and I just found out since 1876.
Yes,
and
almost.
that is history in itself. So it's very impressive. It's a gem of an organization, and we are so pleased to sponsor it again this year.
Yes, thank you. So if you'd like to join Bettina and Caruso McLean, the number is 315-735-3642. Don't forget those tote bags sponsored by Oneida County Tourism. And remember, donations like this and your donation support everything we do here. So our exhibits, our selfie scavenger hunt in the summer, all of the programs that we put on, everything we do. So thank you so much to Bettina and to everyone who's called tonight. And Joe.
Yeah, well, I've got somebody who's responsible for these nice bags, these nice tote bags. And if anybody calls 735-3642, we're doing how many? We're doing 40 to the first people who do $50 or more donations. Sarah Foster Kaleo, thank you very much. The new head of, well, I shouldn't say new. You've been in the job how long?
Almost a year.
Okay.
Yeah, but with Oneida County Tourism for almost 14 years. So tourism is nothing new to me.
And tourism, many people, including your predecessor, have told me that history is a great tourism feature these days. People like to come from history tourism, yes?
100%. We notice that whenever people are visiting, it could be for an event, it could be seeking out history itself, it could be for a wedding or something. A lot of times we're asked what historical locations they can visit. So the Oneida County History Center is just the perfect example of what we love to promote. You know, we love Oneida County. We think that there's so many amazing things that you can do here, but learning about the history of our region is so important, and that's why places like this are vital.
And in the brochure, well, it's more than a brochure, it's a magazine that you do every year. Anybody that leafs through that can see how you've taken advantage of that history with the pictures and the articles that are in there.
Yeah, we're so excited. Our 2024 travel guide or destination guide is out. That came out in March, so we produce that every year. It's a great partnership with Sentinel Media, and we just love being able to hand that out. And it covers everything from suggested itineraries to where can you grab food to focusing on things like arts and culture, history, sporting events, that kind of thing. We always have them at our office. They're free. People can call. They can request them online, and we love to bring them everywhere and pass them out.
How many of those do you print up a year?
I think this year is 30,000, so lots of guides. But yeah, we take them to trade shows, we ship, we have partnerships across the state and into Pennsylvania, neighboring states where we're able to get those out.
You've got a twofold purpose down there, do you not, Sarah? You want people to come into the area, but you also want people in the area to visit these things.
Have you heard me say that before? That's one of my favorite things to say. But yeah, ever since I, ever since I started this job, I've always just thought that people who live here should have pride in where they live. We are ambassadors to the area, and if someone is coming in and they have a conversation with someone who lives here and they ask for a recommendation, we want that person on the other end to be educated to say, hey, this is a place I love, or what are you interested in, and then directing them to go. So we really impact how people's experiences can be when they're in Oneida County.
Yeah. Are you doing much with bus tours anymore?
We do still work in the motor coach market. Madison, my director of sales, she attends a trade show every January. It's American Bus Association. And I think this past year she partners with Madison County. They go and do appointments together. They had, I want to say, 45 appointments. So we will receive, whether it's a lead from one of those shows or other people who have just heard of us, even local tour operators. We do work with them a lot, yeah.
And the headquarters, you've got a couple different places that you work out of. One is right off the thruway.
Actually, no longer, no.
Oh, no, really?
We're not in the thruway anymore. We moved out at the end of last year. It became very difficult to get there just with the construction and, you know, the new guardrails that they set up. So we are now in Union Station. That is our main welcome center. And we feel that that is so accessible to all different types of people. You know, there are people coming in on Amtrak. The county offices are there, the DMV, the Oneida County Public Market. There are just so many reasons, and like the development around Bag Square anyway, you know, the Bag Square district, it's a really great place. So that's open 7 days a week. We always have somebody in there, and people can stop in. They can pick up our travel guides, other travel guides, brochures from all across New York State.
And the building I was talking now about, the Exit 31 building. You're not in that anymore?
No, we're not in there. So nope, the main office is Union Station, and then the rest of us are in the county office building.
And what's in that building? Anything?
There's nothing there. No, I think that will eventually be taken down just to prepare for construction, because there's a lot of development, a lot of new traffic coming into Utica. I think that will eventually be reconfigured to make way for the people coming in with just the development with the hospital, with Nexus, and everything else happening.
Well, continued success to you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for the bags. They're great. In fact, I think I'm going to go hide this one right now.
Make sure you take one for yourself.
Yeah, we're going over to Morgan. Morgan.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Sarah. And make sure to save me one of those tote bags. They're super cute. We are adding back to our starboard, so welcome back, and thank you again to these donors. First off, we have Alfred and Elizabeth Duffy, which is a fund at the Community Foundation for $2,000. I think I need another hand for this. A Gold Star Caruso McLean, $1,000. Thank you for your donation. March Associates at $500, which is a silver sponsorship. We have Richard and Elizabeth Tantillo at a $250 sponsorship. Dennis and Susan Dewey that just called in, so thank you so much for your donation. And same with John and William Blanchfield that also just called in for their donation. Thank you so much. You can also be on the starboard. Give us a call and make your donation today. 315-735-3642. Back over to Joe.
Great. So we are here with John Brown and Veronica Coe of one of our Coldwell banker firms, the John Brown team, an awesome team, returning as and upgrading as a platinum sponsor. Thank you so much, John, Veronica, and the whole team. I know Vince down there too, but has been very helpful.
And it's actually the whole company. We have three offices in the Mohawk Valley, so it's a lot more than my team. It's the whole gang.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your support. And I know you are big history lovers. That's why you're here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your favorite piece of local history, or
I have plenty.
What attracts you to history, John?
Well, right now, I think all of us have to think about how we all love looking at newspaper articles and articles on paper from the Historical Society that are always published. And it's really important to support our Historical Society as we turn into the digital era, because we aren't going to have newspaper clippings very much longer. So an especially important reason to keep history alive through the technology now of the History Center.
Absolutely. And as John mentioned, newspapers, one of our exhibits is about the Saturday Globe, which was a fantastic national newspaper here that started in the 1880s. Really innovative, but printed locally here in Utica, one of the first in the nation to regularly feature color illustrations. And so luckily we have the paper newspapers archived, and those are digitized as well. So that's one thing you can do here at the History Center. You could come down, make an appointment, and check all of those great resources out. Is there anything you wanted to add, Veronica?
No, thank you though.
Cool. And John?
I always have something to add. Support history in the Mohawk Valley. It's very, very important that we know where we're going, because we have to know where we came from.
Absolutely. It's our past, it's our future, it's our identity. So thank you so much for being here, John, Veronica, and the whole team at Coldwell Bankers, Faith Properties. And we're going to pass it over to Joe and Frank Tomeno, see if we can learn a little bit of history and see a couple different artifacts.
No, you're right, John Brown. You need to know where you've been to know where you're going to go. And here's a guy that knows where we've been, because he's been writing about history since the 1960s, right, Frank?
First column, 1968. Well, first byline, 1958. Long time.
But you've loved it, haven't you, Frank?
Oh, every minute of it, yeah.
Yeah. I should say that your history column appears in the Observer Dispatch. I read it on Saturday online. But it appears in print on
Sunday, on the living section.
There's nothing on this table, Frank, that you haven't written about in one way or another. But I'm going to start with that radio. And when I was a kid, which was a long time ago, but when I was a kid, I had a radio just like that one. And they were made in Utica, Frank.
Yeah, it was a GE. GE had a radio receiver plant on Bleecker and Culver Ave. The building is gone now. They tore it down. But you had more than 1,000 workers assembling transistor radios, plus other things too. But I believe it was the last transistor radio manufactured in America. Yeah. All the others were made. So it's quite important. It was a very popular radio. And what was great about that plant, the knitting mills had just left. So you had a lot of unemployed workers, and plants like Radio Receiver had jobs for them on the assembly line, and so it was an important place.
And not only Radio Receiver was the civilian end of GE in Utica, but boy, their aerospace was huge in Utica.
They built the plant on French Road in the 1950s, and they were also, as you know, on Broad Street.
Yeah.
They must have had 5,000-6,000 workers, maybe more at one time.
They were going night and day, GE in Utica.
And well paid too. Well paid work. It was a good company here. Yep.
Yep. They paid for my college.
Yep.
All you had to do was get was it a C or a B?
You had to get a certain
I forget
grade.
what it was, but I struggled to get whatever that mark was.
Yeah.
Also on the table, Frank, you talk about popular. This guy was very popular. And that's Twistorama USA. Hank Brown.
Our old friend Hank Brown. The late Hank Brown.
Yep.
Great guy. One of our he's in our Hall of Fame here at the History Center. As long as I can remember, on television and also on radio.
Yeah.
In his last years, he had a radio program.
And this silverware here, Frank, that comes out of the Hotel Utica.
The old Hotel Utica, which has been around since 1912, and just a great hotel. It was a 10-story hotel when it was first built. By the 1920s, it was so busy they added 4 floors.
Yeah.
So it became a 14-story building.
And it was Utica's first fireproof hotel, was it not?
Fireproof hotel, yeah. It was. They claim it was one of the most beautiful hotels between New York City and Chicago when it first opened.
And one of the places in the old Hotel Utica that I remember, Frank, was a place called the Lamplighter Room.
Lamplighter Room, yeah, that was a very popular place, yeah.
And there were paintings in there. And do you remember that, Frank?
That's
that story?
One thing about history, there's so much mystery. That's one of our mysteries. Those paintings disappeared, and we still don't know whatever happened to them.
You remember the artist that painted those?
I don't.
Was it a Wyeth?
Wyeth, W-Y-E-T-H, I believe, yeah. Which was a well-known artist.
The fishing gear here, Frank, I'll bet you know where that came from.
Probably Horxa Gibson. Which was on Whitesboro Street. The world's largest manufacturer of fishing tackles at one time. So you're talking about Utica had some great plants, and what's great about the History Center is we have artifacts like that aren't thrown away. That 50 years from now, people doing research would be able to see something like that.
And that went in, Frank. That went into a building that was occupied by another leading edge company.
Yeah, it was built by the Utica Saturday Globe, which was probably at one time the largest newspaper in the world. It had, at one time, its circulation reached 300,000, sold all over the country, Canada.
Went into Europe, too.
Yep. Queen Victoria was a subscriber, if you can believe that. And it was printed on Whitesboro Street. And when when the Globe went out of business in the 1920s, eventually Horrocks Ibbotson, the fishing tackle place, took it over. Yep.
It's a vacant lot today, is it not?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah. And this is one of the puzzles that is sold down here in the bookshop at 1608 Genesee Street, and along with a really good selection of history books. And that picture, Frank, is Woolworth's.
Yep, the old Woolworth's store on Genesee Street. Very popular five and dime, and as we've talked about Woolworth's many times, at one time there were almost 3,000 stores throughout the world, and the first store was in Utica, New York on Bleecker Street, as we've talked about many times.
Yeah,
F.W. Woolworth's first store was in Utica. Yeah.
And when F.W. Woolworth came back for an anniversary celebration, I forget what year it was.
There was some sort of a celebration, and he invited managers from all over the country, and he thought so much about Utica. He insisted that it was held in Hotel Utica. They had a big banquet, but even though his store was not successful, he blamed himself. He couldn't get advertising, so on and so forth. But he always liked Utica, so they had that anniversary banquet. It was in Utica.
And he considered Utica really the home of his company.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. And later he moved to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But the first store, I think it operated for about 3 months on Bleecker Street, yeah.
And I remember writing a column about it. The first, and I think I stole this column from you, as I did many columns that I wrote. I think the first purchase in the empire of F.W. Woolworth was a nickel coal shovel.
Coal shovel, and he always regretted that he never got her name, the name of the first person, his first customer, and for the rest of his life he regretted that. Yep.
And one of the other regrets that he had was not having enough money to get started.
Yeah, he had some 5-cent items, and eventually, when those were bought, he didn't have enough money to buy others. Yep.
Yeah. Am I going to toss this over to Morgan? Oh, I'm going hidden history. We've got another history, Frank, coming up. And the hidden histories were done by Alex Stronach, Bob and Mary Stronach's son, and he's done a good job. We'll let everybody take a look at this version of hidden history.
Wealthy Hansinger was born in Rome, New York in 1879. She was an intellectual, activist, and feminist, best known for her work as the founder of Literacy House, a grassroots organization that focused on teaching farmers to read. Wealthy attended Rome Free Academy, graduating in 1896, and studied music at Syracuse University, earning her bachelor's degree in 1900. She had aspirations of becoming an opera singer and further studied at Carnegie Hall. But her plan changed when she heard a missionary speaker and became inspired to complete her education as a teacher and changed her life's course. Wealthy moved to China in 1905 to head the Ban Lin School, which was the only school for girls in a province of 45 million people. Here she taught for over 10 years, where her instruction became a prototype for women's education. She returned to America when World War I broke out and turned the administration of the school over to the Chinese. She worked in Europe as a member of the War Work Council, and after the war, edited the Methodist magazine World Neighbors in New York. In 1924, at the age of 44, she married Frederick Bond Fisher, American Methodist Bishop of India and Burma. After her husband's untimely death in 1938, Wealthy wrote his biography and studied educational systems throughout the world. As a widow, she visited India in December 1947 and met with Mahatma Gandhi, an old friend of her husband's. Gandhi asked her to work for India's villages by teaching adult villagers to read and write. She was reluctant to teach adults because she felt that her career of teaching children in China had not prepared her for the task. But Gandhi told her to teach the adult villagers to read materials about the things that concerned them, their work, and their land. In 1956, she opened Literacy House's 23-acre campus in Lucknow, India. Today, the organization is part of World Education, which aids education programs in 30 countries, including the United States. Wealthy was honored by the Indian government, which based its village literacy programs on her ideas. She appeared on an Indian stamp issued in 1960 and received the Nehru Literacy Award in 1968. She returned to the United States in 1973 and passed away at the age of 101 in Southbury, Connecticut. Her childhood home in Rome still stands on West Court Street and is commemorated with a state historic marker.
I'm a physician, but my dream is to help young women feel empowered. I'd like to have online courses teaching them body positivity and self-confidence. But when COVID hit, I needed a financial plan to make it a reality. Without Andrea, my financial advisor from Northwestern Mutual, it didn't feel possible. She really put me at ease. Andrea has my best interest at heart. She protected my dream.
I love selling real estate. I grew up in local business, involved in everything, and there's nothing I enjoy more than the history and the people of our community. And after growing up in the heyday, seeing the Mayday, I'm so excited that we're part of the rejuvenation of the Mohawk Valley.
The 19th Annual Oneida County History Center Telethon continues, brought to you by the Bank of Utica.
Nearing the end of our first hour here for our 19th annual telethon, and we are making our way. We have about $18,000 towards that $45,000 goal. Please call in 315-735-3642. You can help us reach that goal. I am here with Mr. Stephen Zogby, a veteran check presenter for Scalzo, Zogby, and Wittig. Thank you for being here, Steve.
You're welcome.
And thank you for this amazing donation. And I'd also like to mention there are insurance agents helping keep this beautiful building protected and safe, right?
Yes, we are. Yep.
Yes, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. No, we're happy to present this, and thank you for all you do here and your staff for the community histories. You know, our rich history is so important, and thank you for categorizing it and setting it all up and making us remember this in the future. So we're happy to help and present this.
Thank you so much, Steve.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's people like Steve and the whole team at Scalzo, Zogby, and Wittig that make your local history possible, and you can help too. Did you want to add anything, Steve?
No, just that it's, you know, I just would urge people to call in and make a contribution. It's a wonderful place, and we really appreciate it, so thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you again. And Morgan, do you have some more stars for us?
We sure do. Thank you so much to all the donors that have already called in, but we're going to recognize some of our donors now. So the John Brown team at Coldwell Banker Faith Properties, thank you so much for your $2,000 donation as a platinum sponsor. Then we have Scalzo, Zogby, and Wittig, just like Rebecca just mentioned, at $1,000. Thank you so much for your donation. Moving on, we have a $1,000 donation from Richard Williams. That's a gold level sponsor. Thank you so much, Richard. You can also be on the star board tonight, 315-735-3642. We'll get you on the board. Greg and Denise Evans, thank you so much for your $1,000 sponsorship. We have Janice Collier at $250. Thank you, Janice. And we also just got a donation in from Frank Prisbyson. I apologize if I spelled or pronounced your name incorrectly, but thank you so much, Frank, for your donation. And you can also be on the board. Like I said, call today. We have phone answers that the phones aren't ringing. So call in right now, 315-735-3642 to make a donation. Back to you, Joe.
I have a special guest with us tonight, Mr. Phil Bean, resident Utica historian, many historians, and has been involved with our organization for quite a long time. I know you're a member, Phil. Thank you very much for being a member.
My pleasure.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your association with the History Center?
Well, it goes way back. The
Before my
organization has existed for almost 150 years, and I've been associated for almost a third of that time. And it did a lot to enliven my interest in local history and set me on a course that resulted in 10 research articles and a book and becoming associate editor of the Encyclopedia of New York State. And then in the 1990s, I was an employee here, in fact, for 18 months and put together something called Utica in the 50s. It was an exhibition that brought in 10,000 folks, and I had such a great time doing that project, but I also had a marvelous time rooting around the collection in my spare time. And I have to say, you have a magnificent collection at this wonderful institution.
We do. We have a ton of fantastic things, which we hope to be showing you later. And I know Phil uses our resources a lot today. Still research, got them down at the research library. And yes, I guess do you want to give us a fun fact? What's your favorite Utica fact about, or Italian history fact?
Oh, yes.
What don't a lot of people know?
Well, one thing they don't know, I mean, everybody thinks Utica and Italian, and that's a fair enough association. It's fairer than I think a lot of people know, because actually one of my favorite factoids is that in 1910, a higher proportion of Utica's foreign-born population were Italians than was the case in New York, Chicago, or Philadelphia, the three biggest centers of Italian settlement. So, that means Utica is an intensely Italian place, or historically was, and now it's changing, and that's fun and interesting. We're making history now.
Fantastic. Well, we'd love to hear more, Phil, but we have to get in another check presentation before we take a quick break, and we'll see the news shortly here. So we're going to thank Phil. Maybe we'll have him pop back on later, but we're going to invite Mr. Doug Hurd, or doctors, excuse me, Doug Hurd and Dr. Cynthia Parlato up. Members, donors, so many things. Thank you for being here tonight. And we have another fantastic donation here, silver sponsorship, $500. So why are you a member of the History Center?
We're
why
very
do you
happy
to
be sponsors. We enjoy a lot of the programs that are down here. The dairy industry program that was the most recent one was fascinating and very complete and interesting. I've liked the presentations they had on the curling club and its importance and long history in the Mohawk Valley. On a personal note, since my family was involved in the shoe business for a long time in the Utica area, I was very pleased that how complete that presentation was on the shoe industry. They've all been great programs, a lot of fun for us, and a lot of really interesting things for us to look at and to see and to learn from. We've used the library for our own little research, and what else? Oh, we even use the puzzles for gifts. They're a great reminder of things that we know in the Mohawk Valley. So.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we have a great local history bookstore with books, puzzles, and more. So, Cynthia, did you want to add anything?
Well, I wanted to say it's easy for us to support the History Center because their mission is our mission, to preserve the history and share this wonderful heritage with everybody in the community. And they make it easy. We can just participate as small members.
I hate to interrupt, Cynthia, but we are out of time, and the news is coming in. They're coming in for us.
That's great.
So please join us on cnyhomepage.com.
Join and support.
Join and
we'll
support.
See you back at 7 o'clock.
Now, Eyewitness News begins with your forecast first.